All right, step 3 deals with our weapons policy. And you got to really think through this, because whether you say, hey, no use of guns or yes use of guns, you kind of got pros and cons for both. Now, denying someone's Second Amendment right, their ability to protect themselves and theirs, that should not be treated lightly. If they have the right to defend themselves and all of a sudden something went down, but they were being obedient to their pastor so that they were not able to protect them and theirs, now you may go through life saying, that blood's on my hands. They may have been able to defend themselves. Conversely, somebody could do something really stupid with a gun, whether it's a negligent discharge or someone thinks they see something going on and they misread a situation, they pull a gun out, or there is some type of violent encounter that happens, and then in trying to end that encounter, they shoot somebody that they didn't mean to. There's lots of things that can go wrong either way. So this is a subject that you should not tread lightly. Also, I'll go ahead and say right off the bat, again, I'm not a lawyer, and this really needs to be something you consult a lawyer about, because you can open yourself up either way to some pretty big liability issues. So again, this is just a little guide for you, a conversation starter for your security plan, but I would advise you to consult a lawyer. A story springs to mind. A couple years back, I was talking with a pastor, and he was a little bit more on the side of the fence of, we don't need the guns thing. Security team, that's fine. Do your kung fu things if you need to, but no guns. And I was pushing him about it a little bit, and he asked me, well, explain what you mean by that. I'm like, okay, right now, we're at church. It was non-assembly hours. If somebody came in wanting to do violence like they did in the Charleston, South Carolina thing, they kind of attended a small group gathering, a Bible study, just came in and shot everybody. And people weren't carrying guns, so they couldn't really stop them. I'm like, if something happened like that right now, and I wasn't here, you allowing a staff member to carry a gun would perhaps say, hey, now 3 people died instead of everyone died. And then he sat back, I watched it click in his head, and he's like, I get it. Yeah, that's terrible. And the real way to stop someone with a gun is someone with a gun. So if you have staff members that are inclined and they're trained to be able to carry a firearm, you may want to think seriously about it. And then the next piece of this, to make sure that, okay, if you allow folks, don't tell people to carry guns, but if you allow folks to carry guns, now you can set some type of standards of say, hey, if you are, I'd like you to go ahead and pass the same qualifications that state law enforcement or federal agents have to pass, and an additional qualification that accounts for drawing and shooting under speed and stress components. So now you can do your due diligence to mitigate your own liability, ensure that everyone's professional standards raise up, and incorporate some judgmental shooting type stuff so you make sure everybody's making good decisions under stress as well. Anyway, this has to do with your weapons policy. It's not something to be treated lightly. I've also served on church security teams that and this was kind of before the big active killer boom started happening. So this was many years ago, and they had adopted tasers instead. So I had radios, tasers, wore suits, looked spiffy and nice, had my little ID card, felt cool. But they didn't want firearms back then. So we had to go to taser training to become certified to carry that non-lethal weapon. Anyway, something to consult about your lawyer. It's an important conversation to have in-house. Should you or should you not allow weapons? And if so, what types? Let's move on to step 4.